On this week's episode, Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage, a look at his new movie, which got us thinking about other actors who play themselves in their own movie. That, local casting calls, and a breakdown of the final trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. For the Hub on Hollywood, I'm James.
I'm Jamie. I promise this episode won't be that mad.
No. All right, Jamie. Another jam-packed episode of the Hub on Hollywood. So many fun topics. But one thing that we need to talk about is some of the discussion that we had for our last episode, some of our shout-outs. I guess people were debating the whole Chris Rock, Will Smith controversy and what Chris Rock is really going to be doing when he finally decides to speak out.
Right, because Chris Rock has been saying that, he's not going to be talking about this incident until he has A, processed it, and B, gets paid for it.
Right.
So we put that out there, and on Facebook we had a few people chiming in. We had Mark Herrera saying, "Hey, Chris, everyone knows the story. Silence is best. But I think you should call Will privately and work things out." That's solid advice.
That's an adult thing to do.
In some ways. But you know what? Chris Rock is a professional. And whether he likes it or not, the slap is going to boost his career because people want to hear him talk. And so why not get paid for it, right? That's at least the theory. Let's see. Robin Colley says, "Good. Time to pay up, Will. This won't end." And Victoria Flick says, "Does everything come down to money with these guys?" Like, hey, it happened to him. You know what I mean? He was the one that got slapped, and he's he can do with it whatever he wants. And if I could get paid millions of dollars to talk about getting slapped, I would. I guess, what do you think, James?
Well, again, I think Chris Rock is doing the smart businessman approach of, that people want to hear what I have to say. And you know what? People pay to hear me and what I have to say. So why is this any different? So I totally understand that. I could totally see him doing like maybe an Oprah show or one of those other, not really like news channel shows, but those personality interview
like
shows.
Talk show,
So, yeah. So I could see him popping on a couch with Oprah or some other, influencer at this moment to talk about it. The View. Those ladies will have a hard opinion on what happened. But no, again, thank you so much for the feedback and joining the conversation down below. If you are watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe and leave your thoughts. We'll give you a shout out on our next episode. And you can also listen to us on any of the major podcasting streaming services like iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Any major podcasting streaming service, we're there.
Right.
And don't forget to comment on our social media, on the Facebook, on the Twitter, on the TikTok and Instagram at Hub on Hollywood. But yeah, I love the discussion. Love keeping it going. We're not going to let this slap story die. We are going to keep talking about it and bringing it back.
We are going to slap that dead horse.
Yes.
Until we can slap no more.
I like that.
Okay.
Now, speaking about slaps, big hits. Nicolas Cage, he's been in quite a few big hit movies. I think that's an easy transition, not bad.
I love that. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's why we get paid the big bucks here on the Hub on Hollywood. But also getting paid big bucks is Nicolas Cage, and he's playing himself in this new film, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, that hits theaters on April 22nd. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I've seen the trailer and the red trailer. The uncensored trailer, and it just looks like a lot of fun. Pedro Pascal, our homeboy, our Mandalorian hero, he's in it. Tiffany Haddish, Neil Patrick Harris, Demi Moore, also in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And so far, it's getting really good reviews, 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So a lot of hype for this Nick Cage-assance. There's a renaissance going on for Nick Cage. Well,
you've been saying that you and your fiance have been watching all of these Nicolas Cage movies, so it was just fortuitous. I feel like you brought this into existence, did you not?
I think
because you have that power.
I think we did, and we should totally take all the credit for this. But this movie, of course, Nick Cage is playing himself, but this is a fictionalized version of the actor. And he was recently interviewed by the Rolling Stone magazine, and he shares some initial concerns that he had with playing or taking this role, playing himself. And so, of course, we're looking at this different non-real version, but this version of Nick Cage is near broke. He's living in a hotel. He has a quasi-estranged relationship with his wife and a teenage daughter, and he's reduced to making birthday appearances for a very wealthy fan in a very faraway country. And so when he was first approached with this script, with this idea, he didn't really like it because he felt that this could very easily become an SNL sketch, or could easily turn into a movie mocking his career, or mocking, how people perceive, or, their perception of who Nick Cage is. But apparently he spoke with the director, he spoke with the screenwriter, who are obviously big fans of him, and they said that, no, this is going to be much deeper. There's going to be layer and meaning, and your character, your fictionalized character of yourself, is going to have an arc here, and it's really like an appreciation piece to Nick Cage's career. And so after they talked about him having this arc, that this character is not 100% like the real character. Like, for example, in the movie, he has a teenage daughter that he's estranged with. In real life, Nick Cage has 2 sons who he's very close to, as well as a wife as well. And so I think Nick Cage was at first kind of shy of the idea of being made fun of. Maybe his life being, misconstrued a little more than it already is. But after talking to the director and the writer, he really loved the story, loved the idea of working with Pedro Pascal and getting this, this fun, fake version of Nick Cage out there. And so, have you seen the trailer?
I have not seen the trailer yet, but it sounds really interesting. And I thought one of the interesting things that he said, which is the publication that he was in one of these interviews. He had said that it scared him a little bit, like the idea of exploring this part of him, and so that's how he knew that he needed to do it. And I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it. I think a lot of actors look for that challenge, and they're looking for a greater truth in the line, and it's like that's their being, that's their existence, is trying to explore that artistic venue. Like, how do you, discovering more things about yourself. How do you tell a new story? So, no, it was great. I like that explanation. And 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, that is nothing to sneeze at, okay?
Nothing to sneeze at all.
That is very tough to get, so I'm really interested to see where it goes. And yeah.
Yeah, another thing that they mentioned in the article is that, again, my fiance and I have been binging some of the older movies like, Raising Arizona, Honeymoon in Vegas. We also watched National Treasure, which is like a personal favorite of mine. And so we mentioned those, but in the interview, Nick Cage actually said that he believes the movies that he's made in the past 10 years, including some that some people have called, straight to DVD, he says that the past 10 years have been some of the best movies that he's worked on, and he would put that up against any other any of the other movies that he's made over the past 30 years or before then. And so, among those, Pig came out last year. I watched that on demand, and Pig was really good. I've also heard really good things about Mandy, Bad Lieutenant. These are also movies that he mentioned.
Indie films, yeah.
Yeah. And he also kind of knocked the phrase, straight to DVD movies, because back in the day when the only place where you could see new movies was in the movie theater, and all these other small indie movies or not so good quality movies went straight to DVD or straight to VHS or whatever. And he mocked, or at least again knocked at the notion that there is such thing nowadays as straight to DVD, because now we have streaming services. Everything is on demand. Everything is straight to on demand now. And so, he said, people shouldn't be too harsh on these type of movies, because these are movies that were made with a lower budget, and maybe because they were made with a lower budget, that's what got it greenlit, and that's the movie that they really wanted to make, that they had a personal interest in. And so I can't knock Nick Cage for wanting to make those movies. I know Bruce Willis was recently knocked for making last year 8 movies. and then we learn more information about why he appeared to be making all those movies, and that's because he has this now diagnosed disease that affects his communication, and which people are theorizing that he was just trying to get as much money just so he doesn't have to worry about anything in the future or his family. And so I think that's a good point by Nick Cage, saying, his new movies are many or some of his new movies are straight to DVD. A lot of great movies are straight to Netflix, straight to Amazon, straight to HBO Max, and nobody is knocking those. And so I'm really excited to watch this movie.
I'm really happy about how the streaming services has allowed for more creation. The demand for content is just astronomical right now, and it just allows for so many more ideas to get made, so many more stories to be told, and that's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. So there's not so much of that monopoly on what gets to be a movie and what is good and what is bad. Like it's just art. It gets to be art, and it gets to be a lot of content that you can just find and discover and enjoy without having to have a stigma. Come on, guys. Relax.
It's 2022, guys.
It's 2022. Get with the program. I remember. I'm old enough to remember the. It's the 90s, man. Come on, get with it. It's the 90s. It's a little bit longer. It's been a little bit since the 90s.
Yeah,
now. But it's the 2020s, man. It's the 2020s.
Come
get
on,
with the program.
The ironic thing is that his next movie is coming out in theaters only at this time.
Yeah.
And I think it looks like such a good movie. So I'm really excited to see it in theaters. So coming out April 22nd, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring the massively talented Nicolas Cage. But
ooh, I see what you did there.
Yeah. That got me thinking, what other actors have gone out there and not just like, a small cameo per se, but has had some lines and have played themselves in some movies. So I think this is a good time for our new segments, actors who play themselves.
Yay! Actors who play themselves, not with themselves. Oh,
exactly.
Okay. So James, why don't you kick it off?
All right, so the first person on my list is Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris, he has starred in all of the 3 Harold and Kumar movies. And so the funny thing is, in the movies, I'm not sure if you've seen them, but he plays this sex-crazed version, womanizing version of Neil Patrick Harris. We all know that Neil Patrick Harris is gay. And so he is not a womanizing, sex-crazed person.
Maniac,
and so the funny thing is, his portrayal of this version of himself, going at a ladies' man, going after the ladies, partying and all this other stuff, it was his performance in the Harold and Kumar movies that apparently landed him the role for How I Met Your Mother, because he played the character Barney, who's a womanizer who goes out on dating every woman that he can see. And so his portrayal of that, if you compare the movie with the TV show, it's not hard to imagine why the creators of How I Met Your Mother cast Neil Patrick Harris for that. So I think that was a really good casting.
I thought he was such a funny villain. He was such a hilarious villain throughout the Harold and Kumar movies. And just
he's like the anti-villain.
So ridiculous.
He's like not intentionally trying to make their lives harder. He just is by his own lifestyle. It just happens to do that. So that's a good one, I think.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so on my list is we talked about the Nick Cage-assance. Someone else having a renaissance is Keanu Reeves. Is the Keanu-assance, right?
The Keanu-assance.
The Keanu-assance, right? And so Keanu Reeves played himself in Always Be My Maybe. I don't know if you saw this movie.
I did.
But it was
on
hilarious. Netflix. Oh my goodness. So he plays the love interest. He plays like there's a love triangle between the main characters, and he's the love. He's part of this love triangle, and he's so ridiculous and over the top, and it's like the other main man of the movie.
Randall Park.
Randall Park. There we go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, love that guy.
He's like, really? I have to compete against Keanu Reeves? Really? And he just plays like this version of himself is a little bit like himself. It's very eccentric.
He is amping it up because people have like that. People have put Keanu Reeves on a pedestal, and so people have like, oh, he's a god. He never ages. He's like perfect and everything like that. He's the nicest guy out there. And so I think they kind of played into that of like people seeing Keanu as a god, as this mythical figure, and then
he ends up being a jerk.
Yeah. As a jerk, behind the scenes when they go to like after the dinner, go to back to one of their houses, then he turns into this like crazy jerk. And so it's fun that
he does a great job with that.
Yeah, actors can just make fun of themselves and have fun with it, with that perception that the public has.
Yes, and Ali Wong is the other the main actress of this, and she's talked about how what a great experience it was getting to make out with Keanu Reeves for this movie and all
Such
of that.
Such a hard job.
I know, right? It's like, oh, fine. You know, she just filed for divorce actually, and it doesn't surprise me that much. I just caught her last Netflix special, and she spends most of it talking about how much she wants to like sleep with other men. So it does not come as a surprise to me that maybe that relationship was coming to an end. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Keanu Reeves, hilarious, awesome, and always be my maybe. Who else played themselves?
So Marshall Mathers, a Mr. Eminem, he played himself for a short segment during the movie The Interview, starring James Franco and Seth Rogen. And so it's funny because, again, I love Eminem or Marshall Mathers because this isn't the first time that he's kind of poked fun of himself or, played fun with kind of playing himself. But in this one, the funniest part about this was that during the interview with James Franco's character, he admitted like, oh, yeah, I'm gay. And then James Franco's like, what did you say? And it's like, oh, like gay as in I like men. As in I'm a homosexual. And then like Seth Rogen's character is like, what just happened? Like Marshall Mathers just said he was gay 5 times on our show. And so that was hilarious. Like Eminem saying like he leaves breadcrumbs of gayness and he's surprised it's taking people so long to find out he's gay. So funny. And so Marshall Mathers, Eminem in anything, musically or in the movies or TV shows.
Oh my God.
Hilarious.
I gotta watch that again.
So good. I love The Interview. If you haven't seen The Interview, it's like a personal favorite. It's so good. Like on paper it sounds weird, but in actuality, it's so funny.
I love Eminem so much. Everything about him, I love that he can poke fun at himself like that. So that's fantastic. Speaking of Seth Rogen and all of them, this is the end. Yeah. They all play themselves. The entire cast is playing versions of themselves. James Franco, Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, Michael Cera, and Channing Tatum.
Emma Watson, Channing Tatum.
Okay, so it's like the end of the world. They're all in their Hollywood mansion, and they're going through the apocalypse together. None of them gets raptured to heaven. They're all just stuck there. Yeah. And just really, James, I don't know if you remember the ending with Channing Tatum. I'm still like traumatized by that ending. It was so like, oh my God, no.
Channing Tatum is a professional. He is a true professional. If you haven't seen This Is the End, check this out also. Because again, Channing Tatum is one of those guys where like, like he has no problem making fun of himself or having fun and doing ridiculous things. And so
this was ridiculous.
Really good movie. With a lot of actors playing themselves. Bill Murray, the incredible, the legendary Bill Murray, played himself in Zombieland, which was great. He played with Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, Woody Harrelson. So that was a great one. So again, Bill Murray in the movie, he pretends to be a zombie so he could like survive the zombie apocalypse because the other zombies don't really bother with other ones. So if he's been faking it, and he even says like, oh yeah, I've dressed up like this, done my own makeup and stuff, and we're going to play golf, and so it's really fun. And so Bill Murray in Zombieland, that's a really good one too. Yeah.
Okay, and Michael Jordan in Space Jam. He was the whole premise. Everything was about him and his career, and he was poking fun of the fact that. And Bill Murray was in that too, but he didn't play himself.
Murray. He didn't?
No, did he? No. He played somebody else, didn't he?
I think he did play Bill. I think Bill Murray did play Bill Murray because there was a part at the end where he comes in, and if I remember correctly, because I think it's been 25 years since I've seen the movie.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Because he goes like, "How did you get here?" And then Bill Murray goes, "Oh, the producers got me in." Like joking, the producers of the movie, like, "Oh, I know the producer or whatever." And so Bill Murray plays that, but Michael Jordan and then LeBron James. A lot. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. But I like the 1996 version. All right,
the true version.
I'm not about to bring exactly. There we go. I'll leave it at that. But I also just love that they had like all the other basketball stars in it. There was Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing,
Yeah.
Larry Bird. They're all terrible actors, but like in a really good way. I don't know how
Yeah.
to explain it. But that was one of my, that's on my list. That's definitely on my list.
Excellent. I have just two more. Well, this one's for one movie, Zoolander. Zoolander also has a bunch of actors or models, playing themselves. But most importantly, with the most lines, David Bowie. He played one of the judges for the dance off between Hansel and Derek Zoolander, and also Billy Zane from Titanic, and he's also he played that purple. The Phantom. He played the Phantom, which is like a childhood movie that I saw straight to DVD movie. But Billy Zane and David Bowie appear in Zoolander as themselves, and they're good additions.
Okay, all right. And this is the last one for me is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Airplane. James,
Yeah.
not a lot. I don't know if many people remember it, but he was the co-pilot. And the kid would come in and say, "Hey, you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar." He's like, "No, I'm not, kid. Shut up." He's like, "No, you are." He's like, "Don't mess this up for me." So that was really funny. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar playing the co-pilot in Airplane.
No, that's a good one.
They have him doing some basketball stuff there during the film. Airplane, just go watch it. I think it's on Hulu now. It is.
It's a classic.
On Hulu right now. It's a classic. Get your kids in on it.
Yeah, watch
check
that
it out.
after watching this episode.
That's right.
The last one on my list is, and I recently talked about this on a previous episode. Arnold Schwarzenegger. So in the movie The Last Action Hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a character in a movie that a kid gets sucked into with a magic ticket, and then that fictionalized character of Arnold. That character comes into the real world where he interacts with the actual real Arnold Schwarzenegger at the premiere of said movie. And so Arnold meets Arnold. Arnold actually tackles Arnold and then compliments him for being like really good looking or something. And so Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Last Action Hero, which I do think holds up today. So I do also recommend that movie. But those were our actors that we could think of who played themselves in movies. Who else do you know played themselves fairly well?
What's your favorite?
Yeah, what's your favorite?
Especially, when it comes to like the this is the end. And the ridiculousness that was that film. Who do you think was the best? I liked James Franco and Channing Tatum. That will stick with me forever.
Jonah Hill did a good job in This Is the End. He did a good like jerk version of himself in that one.
Yeah,
so
he
that
was
good.
obnoxious. He was definitely obnoxious.
Check it out. Check it out.
So check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok.
That's the
TikTok.
Next social media
We're
platform
old.
popping up.
Anyways, search at Hub on Hollywood. Join the conversation. We'll give you a shout out at the beginning of the show. And the other thing that we want to do for you, because we love you so much, we want to get you in the movies.
Yeah.
We are called the Hub on Hollywood because there are so many films and movies and TV shows being shot in and around the New England region. We are now Hollywood East, and there's a number of really big projects that are underway right now, James. So why don't you kick it off?
So we have CP Casting. They are looking for background actors for a tennis movie. CP Casting is in Boston seeking men, women, children. Yeah, this is for Tire Town. They're looking for...
James, can I just jump in here for a second? Tire Town is Challengers. This is the Zendaya movie, okay?
Ooh.
We jumped the gun a little bit before. This is the Zendaya movie where
this is the one you want to be in.
This is the one you want to be in. This is the tennis movie that she is starring in. Codename Tire Town, starring Zendaya. Tom might be on set hanging out every now and then. So, yeah, take it away. It's CP Casting, is it?
Yeah, they're looking for men, women, children of any ethnicity to work as background extra performers for this major feature film that's filming in the Boston area between May 2nd and June 24th. So this movie, all about tennis, so they're looking for actors who can portray umpires, line judges, ball boys, coaches, tennis players, tennis pros, groundskeepers, USTA officials, spectators, sportscasters, news media, Ivy League athletes, minors under 18 who can work with their parents, and much, much more. So if you are dependable, if you're interested, if you're available, you can apply online. We'll put 2 links down below. There are 2 links for those who are members of SAG-AFTRA and those who are not current members of SAG-AFTRA. But you should read the entire submission form through to the end before filling it out. And it's strongly recommended that you fill out the form on a computer and not on your phone or tablet. This is paid work for a movie. And so you should send all your information. We'll put links down here, but it's cpcasting.com/Tiretown if you are not a current member of SAG-AFTRA. And if you are a current member, it's cpcasting.com/Tiretown-SAG, SAG. A lot of cool stuff.
All right. That's a good one. You know I've already submitted for it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what we do there. Hey,
and when you run into Zendaya, invite her on the show.
Right? Look, I've got news broadcasting experience is all I'm saying. It's like, just call me.
Call me.
See, I'll be your best friend. Okay, so Boston Casting is working on a film called The Finest Kind. This is what Zendaya was supposed to star in with Jake Gyllenhaal, Ansel Elgort, but for a number of reasons, that cast fell apart. The movie was delayed, and now it's filming again, starring Jenna Gomez, and Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones is in that. So that is through Boston Casting. You're going to want to go to bostoncasting.com and sign up with them for any number of those castings that they will put out. Let's see here. Slate Casting is looking for real families with a first grader. Any configuration, 1 or 2 parents, 1 or more children, as long as 1 child is in first grade. This pays $1,000 for the family if cast, non-union. This is going to be in the Boston area late April. So if you are interested in that one, you're going to want to send your name, contact information, photos, the city you live in, and a headshot or resume to slateselftape3@gmail.com for that one.
So Boston Casting, searching for new faces, 6 to 8 years old with abilities. All abilities are welcome. This is for a photo and video shoot opportunity. It is a non-union gig that shoots on May 9th, pays $125 an hour. So if you have a child who is 6 to 8 years old, submit current photos, contact information, name, cell phone, email, where you live, where you're based. In the subject line, put kids casting / your name. Send that to Boston Casting Submit 5, the number 5, Boston Casting Submit 5 @gmail.com.
Awesome. And that's Jenna Ortega that's starring in Finest Kind. Jenna Ortega. Alrighty, James. Let's see what else we've got going on here. So many opportunities. Let's see. Boston Casting. Nope, this is Slate. Slate, again, is looking for African American and Hispanic men and women over the age of 21. This is shooting in the Boston area also at the end of this month. If you're interested in that, no acting experience necessary. You don't have to be, have any special training or anything like that. If you are African American, man or woman, and Hispanic over the age of 18 who lives in the Boston area, you're going to want to send your name, contact information, photos, the city you live in, the city you grew up in, and the occupation that you currently work. Send that to slateselftape2@gmail.com.
All right, Slate Casting, searching for wicked, pissed off Bostonians. They have another real people casting for you. This is said to be a fun one. So if you know someone, if you are someone with a wicked, pissed off Boston accent, if you have attitude, if you got the accent, they want to hear from you. So they're looking for men and women between 21 and 100 years old for this real people casting project. If you are interested, if you got that sound, you send a current photo of yourself, name, information, contact information, city where you live. You must be in the New England region. Send all that to slaterealpeoplecasting@gmail.com.
And Boston Casting is looking for women with red hair for a digital photo shoot, ages 30 to 40s, non-union, shoots one day next week. Pays $800, so that's that's nice. That's a good chunk of change.
Not bad.
Please submit headshots, photos, resume, bio, where you're located to Boston Casting Submit 8 at gmail.com for that one.
All right, and my last casting call is Grant Wilfie Casting. They're looking for background actors for Season 2 of HBO's The Gilded Age. This is set in the 1880s, and the series will be filmed in Newport, Rhode Island in May, with fittings starting in early to mid-April. So they're looking for women ages between 20 to 50 years old to portray 1880s upper-class sisters. They must have long, natural hair. The tentative workdays will include in the description, but they are looking for upper class sisters, people who can portray that. So if you meet that requirements, you should email gildedage@gwcnyc.com. That's gildedage@gwcnyc.com.
Yes, if you carry yourself with that air of sophistication, with the chin in the air, and you look good in a corset, then, submit for that. So those are our casting calls for this week. It's ramping up. It's definitely picking up, James, as we enter the spring. If we're solidly in spring now. So lots of filming going on in and around the Boston area. That brings us to our final segment, which we do every week, which is what we are watching and what we should be watching. What are you watching, James?
So what I will be watching soon, speaking about ramping up, the anticipation is ramping up for the new Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness movie. The new trailer just dropped a few days ago. I have yet to see it because, I have that mentality of wanting to avoid any spoilers or whatnot. But you know what? I'm going to do this for you, the listener and the viewer. We're going to watch the trailer. Again, this is the new final trailer before the movie comes out on May 6th. So if you're ready, we can...
I'm ready. And afterwards, we will have some predictions. We'll talk about what we think is going to go down here. But I am ready when you are, James.
All right, let's start in 3, 2, and 1.
What is grief, if not love? Persevering.
Oh, already opening with a quote from WandaVision. I love that. Which is one of the best quotes in Marvel history.
And people were hurt.
Westview was the only way to protect our world.
Oh, I knew sooner or later you'd show up.
So you definitely need to see WandaVision before watching this.
With what?
Seems like it.
Every night, I dream the same dream. And then... the nightmare begins.
This is going to be so trippy.
Very
The
spectacular
first Doctor Strange
visuals
movie.
already.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Stephen. I hope you understand. The greatest threat to our universe is you.
Dang it,
I
Stephen
did
Strange.
what I had to do.
Different versions
Things just got out of hand.
of Doctor Strange.
We should tell him the truth.
You opened the doorway between universes. We don't know who or what will walk through it.
Oh my god. They just show Professor X's wheelchair.
Oh my goodness.
You break the rules.
Look out!
Become a hero. I do it, I become the enemy.
Rachel McAdams is back.
We don't get to choose our time.
Oh, it's her sons.
Death is what gives
Wanda's
life
two
meaning.
sons from WandaVision.
No, your days are numbered. Your time is short.
I'm not ready.
No one ever is.
Wow.
That was a lot.
So, like I said, one of the reasons why I was trying to avoid this trailer is because, just some of the spoilers. And I know in the last trailer that they released, they had that voice, which people were saying that sounds just like, what's his name? Who plays Professor X? Patrick Stewart. And so in this final trailer, we actually see Professor X's wheelchair. And so the X-Men are being introduced into this movie. We are definitely going to get Professor X. I don't know if Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, is going to be making an appearance because he said his last film, Logan, was going to be his last time playing Wolverine. And so I'm very curious if he's going to be popping up. Professor X is. Really quick, though, I loved the very beginning of this trailer just because, one, it showed the WandaVision, like the scenes from there, and that line, "What is grief if not love persevering?" One of the best lines, not only in MCU Marvel movies, but just a beautiful line in just cinema in general.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you 100%. That seemed to have resonated so greatly. And it's beautiful to see it included, and it adds to her motivation throughout this film, which is she's looking for her family. And we do see a clip there of her reaching for her two boys. So you do need to have seen WandaVision in order to understand this movie, it seems like. I don't know how much they're going to rehash what happened in the shows, but it seems like if you want to go into this, like, informed, you want to watch WandaVision. Also Loki.
I was going to say, I didn't see any mention of Loki or view of other variants of Loki, but, they obviously may be saving that for the actual movie, now wanting to give away everything. But I would say, of course, watch WandaVision and then watch Loki, because Loki, they do, and they mess with the splitting of the multiverses directly.
Okay.
So
look, Benedict Cumberbatch has said that this is going to be the most ambitious and expansive Marvel movie yet, which is crazy considering everything we've already seen in Marvel, okay?
With
How are you
Spider-Man
going to
No
top
Way Home.
Endgame? How are you going to top Spider-Man No Way Home and the multiverse in that film that brought together all of the Spider-Man and all the Spider-Man villains, and it was so satisfying to watch. So that is going to be crazy. We saw insane visuals here. I hope that all of that sort of computer animatedness doesn't get in the way of the story that's being told. But anyways, Doctor Strange apparently has broken the multiverse, and it's like, you would have thought if you watching the Loki series, oh no, Loki broke it. Watching WandaVision, no, this is all Wanda's fault. Watching Spider-Man, no, this is all Spider-Man's fault. Apparently, it's just Doctor Strange's fault, but we'll see. And this
could
really
be a line.
I'm sorry. This reminds me of Kang the Conqueror, the villain at the end of the Loki series. That's what reminded the Loki connection that it felt to me, because all the versions of Kang are the threat to the multiverse in that series. And in this movie, it seems like all of the versions of Doctor Strange are the universal threat throughout that film. So it'll be interesting to see if we even get mention of Kang at all, or what's going on here as far as him being the villain, Doctor Strange being his own villain.
I actually think they may throw in Kang the Conqueror in this film or reference him, but he may not be the big bad, just because if I remember correctly, Ant-Man and the Quantum of Universe, whatever, the Ant-Man 3, apparently Kang the Conqueror is the main villain for that movie, and that comes out after this one. And so this multiverse may not be fixed. This problem may not be fixed by the end of Doctor Strange. And that one line saying, "This is all your fault." Yeah, that could just be a line, with I think it was Wong. I think that was Wong speaking. And so, that could just be his perception because he has no idea about Loki. He has no idea about Wanda and what they're meddling with. And so it could seem or appear this is all Doctor Strange's fault. But maybe add on Wanda and add on Loki, all that combined happening at the same time, that could, be what's disrupting everything.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, what's most exciting to me about the X-Men joining the MCU is Deadpool, honestly. Is like Deadpool teaming up with Spider-Man and like Venom. Like, I need a Deadpool Venom Spider-Man movie. I need it. I need it, James. I need it. So what is most exciting to you about the prospect of the X-Men coming into the MCU?
I like Michael Fassbender. I like his version of Magneto. I also do like Sir Ian McKellen's version of Magneto as well. But I think Michael Fassbender introduced into the MCU is going to be great. He's an excellent, amazing actor, and he does a really good job with that role. And so it's possible we could have old Professor X, Patrick Stewart, hanging out with young Magneto, and so that combo or whatnot. So I am very excited about this. And again, people were theorizing at the last trailer, oh, that sounds like Professor X's voice. Now we definitely know he's in this movie. So so again, a little bit of me is like, dang it, you watched the trailer. But at the same time, it is what it is. I'm sure things were going to get out sooner or later. But everything they've shown in this trailer, you can imagine this is just maybe 5% of what's in the movie. I'm hoping, and everything else, it's still like we're
there's still
surprised.
Surprises. Yeah, exactly. Now, can we get James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart together, like just
doing
the
the
two
pointing?
of them, like
they're just pointing at each other in wheelchairs.
The young and old. Yeah. That's what I'd like
let
to
us
see.
know what you think. Have you seen? Oh, if you're watching and listening to us, you've heard and seen the trailer. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions for this movie? I do believe that you should watch. WandaVision, Loki, and now Spider-Man: No Way Home is out on demand.
Yes.
So
Yes.
watch that too if you haven't already.
I did.
That before getting into it.
Yes, I just downloaded it. I just bought it, and I was watching No Way Home. And that's a great way to lead into Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange messes things up for Peter, and we get that taste of the multiverse there. So I think that's gonna lead so nicely into the next film, because Doctor Strange is still dealing with the repercussions of his meddling with the multiverse. Although he's not the Sorcerer Supreme.
No, Wong is.
The other guy is. Wong is. That's right. So it's just all great. It's all great. So I can't wait. Like James said, share your thoughts with us. What are your predictions? Are you excited? Find us at Hub on Hollywood. We're on YouTube. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're everywhere you want to be. Most everywhere that you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to us. So go and find us at Hub on Hollywood. Join the conversation, and we will give you a shout out at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, and don't forget to tell us what you think about Nicolas Cage's new movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and some of your favorite actors who played themselves either in movies or in television. But, Jamie, I think this has been a jam-packed episode with a lot of great content. Thank you so much for joining us. Please catch us on our next episode. And again, for those casting calls, if you meet any of those descriptions, those requirements, go ahead and apply. You never know who you're going to pop up next to, maybe a Zendaya. If you know someone, send them a link to this episode. Get them on the screen, get them famous, get them some work. Before the Hub on Hollywood, I'm James.
I'm Jamie. We'll see you next time.
Bye.